but just wanted to make sure that families had a chance to hop in because I'm pretty sure they have some Q&A for you as well. So
I'm sure they will. All right, guys, I am fine, Alicia. Thank you for asking. I'm going to go ahead and shut the chat down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo! And that just will help us stay focused. Of course, we're going to open the chat after we finish presenting so you guys can ask any question that you may have. If you have a personal chat, of course, you can private chat to Miss Lowe. She will be looking for those and be glad to answer individual. But if you will, hold on those questions and we will answer them when we're finished. Welcome. So glad you got here. It was a little journey from what I've understood, but you made it and you're here. So I want you to take a deep breath and exhale, because you are in your own home or surroundings, wherever you are, and that's a good thing. And we're all relaxed, and we're going to just talk through this. So I am Rosie Lowndes, your middle school principal, and I will give it over to Miss Lowe to introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. Mrs. Lowndes, is my camera working? Because I don't see anything.
Probably not, because here you go. Try it now. There you go, Miss Lowe.
I can't tell. Anyway,
Yeah,
I'm here. Hi,
there.
how are you? And I'm Miss Gentry Lowe, since it says Gentry up there, but I am Miss Lowe. I'm one of the middle school assistant principals, and we're glad you're here. And if you do have a question, I will be watching the chat box, so you can type it in there.
All right, I'm going to make that big, and actually I'm going to make it small. Get back to me. Then I'm going to make it big. There you go. And guys, if you don't want my face covering part of this, just click on that little square in the right-hand corner and it'll make me go away. And you can just hear my voice and see the whole presentation large. So we are here to talk about not just milestones, but also all assessment preparations for the end of the year. Now, let's do a little pop quiz. In the chat, I'm going to open it in a few minutes. What are the 4 big assessments still left in the school year? I'm only going to do 4. There's actually 5, but we're only going to do 4. All right, I'm unlocking the chat. What are the 4 pretty big assessments left for the remainder of this school year? And I'm going to give you a hint. EOG is one of them. Oh, all right, Angela, IA 5 and 6, MAPS. She got it all in one answer. If we were in person, Angela, I would throw you a piece of candy. You got it. Melissa, you're getting it. Corinne, MAP, Milestones, IA 5 and 6. All right, for a bonus, what is the 5th one that we didn't mention? That's just our AIM students. Let's see if anybody gets this one. That's sort of a trick. Oh, Zoe, you got it. iReady, the iReady diagnostic. All right, let me close that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So guys, that's what we're talking about today. IA5, IA6, MAP, Milestones, iReady. How do we prepare for these pretty large assessments for the end of the school year? So what I'm sharing with you is applicable to all of them. Even if your student is not having an EOG in every content, for example, our 6th and 7th graders, they only take EOG for ELA, language arts, and math. They do not take an EOG for science or social studies or of course, electives. But what I'm sharing with you, they can still use, the ELA and the math, and that's going to bleed over into social studies and science because it's a lot of reading. In math or in science, there's some math. So these are just great resources for no matter what content, no matter what grade level to help you out. Now, what I'm going to do is instead of sharing it in a PowerPoint, I'm actually going to take you to the site. So we're going to have a virtual field trip of websites. And if you have 2 monitors, Miss Lowe is going to be throwing the link into the chat. So you could click on it on your device and look at it too and get familiar with navigating it. Or if you want to just look at me do it, that's fine too. So I'm going to do a screen share. Give me a second to pull that up. All right, go ahead and give me your favorite emoticon, which is the smiley face in the left-hand corner under my picture. Click the smiley face and then choose your favorite emoticon. You can do a rabbit, a turtle, green check, whatever, to let me know that you see this, that you see something that says, what is the purpose of Georgia Milestones? Right in the middle. Benjamin, A+. Karen, love it. Candace, yes. Crystal, love the turtle. Crystal, Demetria, thank you. Faith, Bazwan, Golda, Hanan, Heidi, love it. Jessica, Carrie, Katie, yes. Khalifa, Kendra, Lakeisha. Oh, you guys are A+. Terry Coons, yes, love it with your turtle. Teresa, Tiffany, love it. And guys, if you missed that smiley face under my picture, click on it and then choose one. All right. Thank you so much for that participation. And guys, that's the first step right there of how your student can be successful on these types of assessment is participating in class. Just what you did, that's step one. Not only is it the student getting into the class, but interacting with the teacher and with each other. And in a virtual world, how we do that is using those emoticons to let me know I'm here, I see what you're seeing, I understand. So if you can help us help your student by monitoring them and making sure they're doing this, that would be great. And once we get them into habit, then you don't have to monitor so closely because it becomes a habit to them and they're just used to doing it. So thank you for that participation. So what I just clicked on was the first resource. And this is from the Department of Education, and it's all about the milestones. Miss Lowe put the link in. I would go ahead and click on it, bookmark it, or save it as a favorite. And of course, this presentation is going to be sent to our Miss Opani. How did they get this presentation? Remind us. Oh, Miss Opani might be out. Okay. I believe she emails it to you, or it might be on our website. But when she comes back, she'll tell us how you're going to get it. But the links are in there as well. So I clicked on it, and this is where I am. I'm on this big page with all these words. All right. If you want to know about what the purpose is, what's assessed, then you can read all the stuff in the middle. But where you want to go to get some resources to help your student, you can't really study for the milestones, but to prepare them to know what it's going to look like, you want to go right here to the right where let me bring it up a little bit. So you can see parent resources. Okay, I'm going to clear our feedback. So it's all going to go away. And I want you to give me an emoticon, favorite emoticon, if you see what I'm pointing to. All these resources, Georgia Milestone, EOG, EOC, etc. Let me see how we're doing. All right, Faith is with me. Fazwan, Jennifer, yes. Kimberly, yes. Latrice, again, the emoticons are the smiley face under my picture. Nancy, I love it. Thank you for that. Shirlene, Stephen, Suzanne, Takesha, Zara, excellent. All right, now a few more of you are coming with me. So my question was, do you see the parent resources that my mouse is going over? That's what I want to make sure you see, because that's where you need to go. So you clicked on the link, you got here, and the first thing I would go to is this top one, the Georgia Milestone EOG Study Resource Guides. If you click on that, it's going to take you to this page. Then you're going to go to the grade level for your student or students, and you're going to click on it. So let's say I have an 8th grader. I'm going to go to grade 8 EOG Study Resource Guide. I'm going to click on it, and voila, I got this big old book of stuff, 298 pages of it. All right, what I would do is I would just scroll. Notice I'm using my scroll bar all the way to the right. And it's, basically it's giving you how to use the guide, how to prepare, the overview. I mean, you got a lot of information about the EOG, some good nighttime reading. I'm going to scroll down to where we start getting the stuff I want to practice with. All right, right here. This is language arts. So this is an example of a passage that your 8th grader might be asked to read on the EOG, okay, about Houdini, and then some questions. And they give you the correct answer. They tell you what standard it came from. So it's giving you examples. Here's an example of a writing, a constructed response. So these are actual example questions that you can go over, and our teachers do this as well, but it won't hurt for them to see it 2 or 3 times. And you can just go through. Now, am I going to do this all in one sitting? No, 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 no. Am I going to do this the night before the test? No, I'm not going to do that either. This is something you can just start slowly introducing to your student and have them do one thing. Maybe you do it once a week, that you just do some EOG prepping, milestone prepping, assessment prepping. And again, this is going to help them not only on EOG, but also their interim assessment, also their MAP. It's the same types of questions they're going to be getting. So it'll go through, if I keep scrolling, again, remember, it's 298 pages. If I keep going, I'm going to go into other content. So that was just ELA, a lot of ELA because it's a lot of reading. There we go. Now we're starting math. So you see how it's going to do math, and it's going to do science, and it's going to do social studies, because 8th grade are all 4 contents, right? So that's a very valuable resource for you. So I'm going to go back, and I'm going to hit my back arrow to get me back to where I first started. Some of you have students that are taking high school courses. They're 8th graders taking high school, or you just have a high school. Same thing here, EOC. It does exactly the same thing. So you just click on that and go through it. The other thing I would like to point out to you under parent resources is this one right here, Experience Online Testing Georgia. That's what Mrs. Howard referenced in our meeting a few minutes ago. And I want to show you what that looks like. All right, this, when I click on it, it takes me to this. This gives your student practice of what it's actually going to be like when they sit in the chair and plug up their computer at the testing site and start taking the test. This is what it will look like. So it's a great for those of you that have never, your student has never done online EOG with us. And it's even good for our students that have been with us for years, because you only do this once a year. So it's a good practice. So you're just going to click on that. Miss Lowe's putting the link in the chat, but you can get to it from that same link she gave you. You're going to click test practice.
And Mrs. Lowndes, I just wanted to add real quick, definitely, even if you've used it before, just practice again, because there are some it's not the most user-friendly way to take a test. So in practicing, you'll figure out some of the things that we don't want them to not know how to do when they're taking the test, like how to scroll, how, to read the passages, and just different things like that. So I suggest you practice even if you've taken it before, because you probably won't remember all of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So guys, what you want to do is when you click on it, you get to this big page, and I'm going to go to the end of grade. You click online tools training. So I'm going to click on that. It's spinning. Now this is where you're like, there's nothing on the page. You actually have to go over here to EOG test practice, click on it, and voila, all these little topics pop up. So I'm going to click on just the first one, standard online tools. When I click on that, notice it'll give me the grades. I'm going to go to grades 6 through 8. I'm going to click on that. And then it gives me this, opening screen. I'm like, what? Password, username. But look, right above it, it gives you the username and password. Now, I don't really know why they have this when it's right there in front of you. But, we're going to go with that. So I'm typing exactly what I see right above it, and I'm going to click sign in, and it's going to say, oh, here I am. So welcome, training student. So it's going to give me some information. I'm just going to click continue. I'm going to say, yes, I want to do 6-8 practice. It's very intuitive once you get in, and it's spinning. And it's going to give me a lot of information. So it's talking about how you answer questions. It's talking about how you use the pointer tool. It's talking about how you navigate. So here are the different tools that Mrs. Howard was talking about, the cross off, the highlighters. It's just telling me all that's available on the test. Got a calculator, It's already built in. Students don't have to bring their own calculator. Of course, they can if they're familiar with the one. There is a part of the math that does not allow you to use a calculator, but there are parts of it that do, and it's very clearly stated. Hopeful testing tickets are testing hints. So all of that you could go over with your student. Again, not all at one time. I would just approach this in a slow, methodical way, maybe once a week, have a little 30-minute EOG time where we're talking about it so they become familiar. And then I'm going to say begin the test. And here it is. So this is what the EOG, this is from ELA, looks like to a student when they take it. And you'll notice we've got the directions, and then we've got question, and they would click. You can see my little pencil. Just click what the answer, and I need to know about the next button. That's how it gets it to the next page. And, you know, scrolling down, show you that. I've got options here. I can pause it. I can review. I mean, it's pretty intuitive once you get going.
Actually, Mrs. Lowndes, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you again.
Yes.
Do you see at the bottom where it says pages 1 through 5, that page 1 through 5
Right
at
here.
the bottom? Yeah. If you go to next, it's already taking you to the question. But if you have to page 1 through 5, there's somewhere where you have to scroll to get to the rest of the, yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? So you don't use the next until you're ready to answer the question. That's one of those things that's sort of confusing.
Yeah. See, you see Ms. Lowndes got confused. So let me go back to, how can I go back, Miss? I guess I go there. Page 1.
Yeah.
I didn't do it.
Question, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I'm just kind of moving through question. That was the questions actually. But that right there on the left-hand side is like I'm turning the page of the test booklet to read it. So I'm reading this passage about the live oak tree. And then when I get back here, I'm just using that back button. Then I'm ready for question 1 over here on the right-hand side. And then when I'm finished, you know, I can go back in here and I can look and see what it is that I needed to, you know, if I need information about how to answer that question, I answer it, then I get in my next one, and etc. So this is a great place to practice, and it's going to take you through different contents. It's not just ELA. So this one will do math, science, social studies if you're, you know, go into those as well. And then all the tools are up here so the students can get familiar with that. Ms. Lowe, any other tips you want to give us?
When you get like in math, there's a couple things that you have to sort of be aware of. If
you want me to just go for it. And by the way, guys, how you go back, notice I click the pointer up here and then I click on the page and it'll go forward. You see how that's going forward to the next one. So let's skip through ELA. Let's see if we can get to something different. Okay, there you go. Yep.
So in this one, you can use the tools up above, like they're going to have you draw and things like that. And I apologize, I don't remember exactly. So when you get to this, have them practice the drawing because, and actually I think go next. And I think there's a question where they have to draw a line and it doesn't make sense how they have to do it. Let's see. Is that it? Maybe there. Yeah, that might be it. Okay. So click on one of the points. Is it going to let you draw the line? I apologize, y'all. It's been a year since it's been 2 years since we did this actually, because we didn't do it at all last year.
Yeah, it's not letting me do anything.
Okay. All right. Well, when you get into it, just play with it and you'll be able to, is that it?
Here we go. This might be it.
Okay. So there's some way that, yeah, go up there and click on that line, I think, right? And then it lets you draw it, right? See, I don't remember. There's a way to make it.
Yep, there
it is. Yeah, you had to go click on that one up there.
I'm drawing a rectangle. You see I'm clicking on the little line, and then I go and then keep going here. And if I make a mistake, there's that little eraser, and you see how it just reset everything. So it's just getting your student familiar with doing work that they would do on paper and pencil on a computer. But because they're online students, they do this a lot anyway. So we're kind of at an advantage than our brick and mortar sister schools. All right, so I'm going to pause there for a minute, and let's clear our feedback and let's see how we're doing. Does that make sense, guys, what I was doing with that pencil, how I was making that rectangle? Give me your favorite emoticon if that makes sense to you. Give me a red X if that does not, and we'll go back over that again. So there's a red X in your emoticon, and that will help me know, gauge where we are. Thank you, Heidi. Okay, Khalifi, I see that red X. Keandra, I see your red X. So it's a couple of you, but, and Charlene, thank you for that red X. All right, I see about 7. Let me say it one more time just to make sure our 7 are with us. So what I did is I clicked on the point. Oops, sorry about that. I clicked on the line. You see how I got clicked on the line, and then I used my mouse and I drew a line. You see how it makes that line there? And then I drew another line because I only had to click it once, and it's drawing it for me. And I drew another line. I'm just using my mouse and tracing the line. I'm making a rectangle. And there you go. I just made a rectangle by using my mouse and clicking that line and then just drawing it. All right, so I'm going to check my emoticons just to make sure my red X people, hopefully that helped you out. So Bethany and Crystal and Hyen and IDK, I hope that helped you see it a little bit. And I can always go back to it. But guys, it's one of these things, you just play with it, and your students will probably be very intuitive, and they will probably not struggle as much as we do because they're so used to doing that. So this is an excellent place to spend time with your students so they get comfortable using the online testing that they will be doing in April. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to where we were at the very beginning. And again, parent resources right here. That's what you want to click on to find help with the EOG specifically, but it also helps you in other places. All right, the next thing I want to show you is I want to show you on Canvas where another resource that is an excellent place for your student to practice for all of these assessments. I don't care if you're taking Milestones, MAP, IAs, iReady, USA Test Prep, brand new resource we've just rolled out. So I am in here as a student. I've logged in as a student, and I'm going to show you where to go to find how to use USA Test Prep. So you want to go to the opening page of any of your content. So this just happens to be this student. She logs in. This is what she sees. Then I'm going to go over here to courses, and I'm just going to pick a course. So I'm going to pick this social studies course and give it a minute. And do you guys, let me make sure you're still with me. Let me clear the feedback. Do you guys see Mrs. Barton's homepage? You see something that says, welcome to Leslie Barton and Aisha Perry up at the top. Thank you, Zoe. You're so fast. Thank you, Rashid. Thank you, Reginald. All right, so guys, you're going to scroll down, and right here where it says Assessment Prep Green Dot Challenge, that tells you how to use USA Test Prep to study for all of these assessments. It's going to take you, if I clicked on that, it's a hot link, it's going to take me to this page. And this has a video if you're more of a visual learner, or it has written instructions with screenshots of how you use USA Test Prep to study for these for all these various assessments. And you want to earn a green dot, because when you earn a green dot, that shows you've mastered that particular standard. Now you may be asking yourself, well, Ms. Lyles, how do I get to USA Test Prep? How do I even access the program? Let's do a little check. I unlock the chat. Where do you think you go to get to USA Test Prep? I'll give you a hint. You see it in blue on this piece of paper. That's right, Nancy. That's right, Rashid. You go to Clever. So right there in Clever, if I scroll up, now mine may look a little different than yours, but if you scroll down, there it is right there, USA Test Prep. You click on it, takes you right in to USA Test Prep, and just follow those directions right here of how you use it. And again, the objective is to get green dots. Now, it's a lot, right? If you're an 8th grader, those are 4 contents, and there are a lot of green dots because there are a lot of standards for each of those contents. Instead of doing all the standards, which ones do you think your student should start with? Let me just ask that question. Instead of doing all the standards for all of math, which ones would you start with? Okay, there's no due. They're not past due because these are not assigned. These are just open. This is an extra resource. Yes, Jessica, you got it. Which ones would you start with? Okay, don't think about content. Just think about within, let's just say within ELA. Abigail, perfect answer. That's exactly right. The ones they're struggling with, problem areas. Yes, Zoe, absolutely. Don't waste your time practicing ones they already know because, they've got that. Yes, Faith, go to the ones that they struggle with. And if you're not sure which ones they struggle with, who should you ask? Who would you ask? If you're like, I have no clue what they're struggling with, ask them. Yeah, your teachers. Yeah, the math teacher, the ELA teacher, the science teacher. So yeah, either your student, but if they can't articulate it, if they're like, I don't really know, then go to the teacher and just shoot an email, say, hey, we're going to start on USA Test Prep. Which one would you advise me to start with my student? What do you think their major problem, is? And they'll tell you. And they'll also tell you which one is the bang for your buck, because standards are weighted on milestones. There are certain standards that have heavier weights than others. And you can find that information on that page we were on for the milestones, but you've got to go through a lot. Just ask your teacher. They'll tell you. And those are the ones I would do. All right. Yes. Amanda, this is 6th, 7th, and 8th. This is all of middle school. So we're very excited that you're here. All right. So now what I'm going to do, we're going to switch gears. I'm going to go back to our documents. We have already talked about that page. So this one, you may be asking, well, okay, you've told me what I need to do. What are y'all doing to prepare my student for these milestones and IAs and math? Well, my friends, we've been doing it since August. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. And so we had to start this work back in August or whenever your student came to GCA. But we do right before the milestones, the 3 weeks before. So after your student gets back from spring break, we will start intense review of the milestones for those milestone tested subjects. And then our science and social studies team for 6th and 7th grade, they help out for ELA and math by supporting, by going over things that are most commonly missed standards in ELA and math. They'll incorporate that in their lessons. So they're going to be doing that, and they'll have, review sessions, activities, study guides, test taking strategies, all of that. So that is what we'll be doing. And of course, the USA Test Prep, like I talked about. Melissa, yes, you should be able to go into Illuminate and see the previous IA standards and which ones they didn't do well on and which ones they did. You don't see exactly the questions because that's for test security so that we can use questions again, because there's only a finite number of them, but you are able to see that. But again, if you can't find it or you're struggling with it, just email your teacher and say, hey, I really need help knowing what I need to focus on with my student. They'll be glad to help you. All right. This is, you guys know this, and they talked about this in the other meeting about but this is so crucial. make sure your student reads the directions before answering questions. And the more you say it, we're going to say it. And maybe between the 3 of us, we'll all get it, or the 6 of us, however many teachers you have for your student, if they're EOG, we'll get it through. It's really important for them to do that and to answer every question. Oh, I don't know how frustrating it is when when we get results and we notice the student just didn't answer the questions, all of them. And it's not that they didn't have enough time. They had enough time. They just skipped it. So make sure they know to answer every question, not rushing, but don't stare at the same question for 10 minutes. You can skip them and move on, but then remember to go back and answer all of them. And then we talked about USA Test Prep. And Study Island is another great resource that we have for science. So that's another place your student could do those what are they, Miss Lowe? What is it called? Now I've forgotten. You earn what do you earn in Study Island? I forgot. It's like a something.
You earn blue ribbons.
Blue ribbons. How could I forget the blue ribbons? Oh my gosh, that was my time when I taught here. So, earning blue ribbons, earning green dots, those are the ways. But again, don't feel like you need to do all of them. Focus on the ones that they struggle with. That's where you want to spend the bulk of your time. All right, and we already talked about this. This was about the online testing tool that we worked through. So you have that link. And then the week, guys, don't cram. It just stresses everybody out, including your student. At that point, they either know it or they don't. And it's more important to get good rest, eat well, exercise, celebrate with them. This is to show what you know, do all the deep breathing, all the stress techniques, the less stress techniques that we all know to do as adults, the deep breathing, clearing your mind, all of that. And, just do their best. That's all that we ask. And remember, your teachers will also be out of their home offices, as well as all of us, our whole school is all hands on deck to do this. So we'll be away from our email during the day because we will be testing with your students. So please keep that in mind. If you try to communicate to them, they will not be able to respond. But your FSLs, we use them as well, but that would be somebody you could reach out to, and then they'll eventually get back to you. Don't think that they're not going to answer emails for 7 days, but it may be a little delay. And that is it. So I hope that helped and gave you some information. And I will take any questions that you have. But if you do not have any questions, you are free to go. Before you go, Miss Opani, do you have anything to add?
I did that you called my name, but I was trying to make sure that I had everything on the back end with the parent meeting taken care of. I'm so sorry. I will send a recording to both the Zoom meeting and this meeting to all of our middle grades families tomorrow, so that you guys can catch it. And you also will have access to the slides if you want to refer back to the slides. We do share that as well in the s'more. So thank you guys for the understanding and our new platform or format, that we had for tonight, the Zoom and Jigsaw. If you can't hear me, I will type in the chat box, Control R. But have a great night. I don't have anything else. Mrs. Lowndes.
All right, thank you. And so, guys, that told you how to get the PowerPoint with those links. She'll be sending that. So, lots of questions. You are so welcome, Suzanne. I'm glad we could help. If you have a question, you want to use the mic, you can raise your hand by using that smiley face. Again, let me clear the feedback. There you go. Sorry, whoever just raised their hand, I just unraised your hand. Raise your hand and I'll take questions that way. Golda, I notice your mic is red, so it may not be working. You may have to use the chat, but you can't anyway. We'll try it. And Miss Lowe, can you address the ones in the chat because they came so fast? I didn't catch them. Are you good?
They went fast, yeah, but I'll try to get
Okay. All right, Miss Lowe is going to work her way back and get the questions asked in chat. Miss Golda, go right ahead. Miss Golda, if you click on the mic, you should be able to answer it. or use it. Sorry. Oh, here you go. Now you can. Miss Gold, yeah, go ahead.
I have a green microphone. I was just making sure we're confirmed in-person testing.
Yes, ma'am. The truth is I know it right now.
Okay. And do we know anything about how they're going to be preparing for keeping the kids safe as far
Yes.
as
Yeah, they went
Great.
over all, yeah, they went over that in the first meeting and they have a link. Miss Opani, can you provide that link again of all the safety precautions they'll be taking?
I'm going to go ahead and put it in the chat box, as well as if you have any questions or concerns, there's also on the attendance survey a portion for you to address your questions so that Mr. Goldberg will be able to answer them personally.
Right. Miss Lowe, if you want to turn your mic off because we just hear background, you probably don't realize you even had it on. Okay, thanks. Miss Golda, did your question get answered? Can I put your hand down? Or
Yep, I'll be looking out for the link. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Miss Golda. Thank you for being here. All right, Miss Heidi, you go right ahead.
I see that some of the other parents are also asking questions about one in person. You already answered that one. Where are we going to, or how do we find out where are we going to actually be taking the milestones? I missed the first meeting. I apologize for that.
No, that's okay. No problem. Mr. Goldberg, who is our assessment manager, he is sending out information in March. He hopes sooner than later, but it will definitely be to you in your email by the end of March. But he's hoping even before that.
Okay, and I also had another question, which was regarding some, because this is our first year with GCA.
Yes, ma'am.
And I already asked this question to my FSL and she didn't have an answer for me. So she was trying to find out this answer. What
Okay.
resources do we have for over the summer? Seeing as we'll hold on to our laptops, but do we still have access to all the apps and will it leave off right where we left off so that we could just keep plugging forward over the summer?
Right. Well, it won't leave where you left off because when you finish a school year, we do different things. So it doesn't continue from year to year to year, if that makes sense. But to my knowledge, you will still have the extra things like USA Test Prep, Study Island, Brain Pop, all those different things on Clever, you would still have access to, but there wouldn't be anything obviously in Canvas. I mean, there's not going to be assignments over the summer, so there wouldn't be anything like that. And generally, Mom, we send out at the end of the school year, each of our content sent out to parents is like their last email to their students, different resources that they encourage their students to use during the summer. Does that make sense?
It does. I'm just looking more specifically for resources that allows them to, at the level that they're at, to keep just going forward and increasing their skills.
Right. And that, I'm not sure about if your students on iReady. I don't know if that's available, but definitely for the Brain Pop, the USA Test Prep, I mean, it would be able, you are able to do those at different levels and you could practice and fine tune your skills. But it's not like we keep on schooling, right? So those FLVS, your Gallopade, all of that would not be that wouldn't be available for the school during this summer.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Heidi. Did you have any other question?
I'm just more specifically looking for, the artificial intelligence assessment, just so that they can keep, seeing exactly where they're at and that their level just keeps increasing. So that's really
Right.
what I'm looking for so I can make the right assessment. So if I have to enhance something on my
Right.
end, then I know
Right.
what I need to do so I can start looking for that now.
Yeah. Heidi, do this for me. Email me rlounds@georgiacyber.org. Just a brief summary of what you just said. Let me do a little more research for you on that, okay?
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, and welcome to GCA. We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, I'm going to go ahead and lower your hand, Heidi. Rashida, go ahead and grab that mic.
Yes, ma'am. My question was when it comes to USA Test Prep, will it have the standards listed like it does with the interim assessment, where it will show you what Georgia standard and how your child scored? Will it have that on USA Test Prep as well?
Yes, the beauty about USA Test Prep, it is very close to what you see on Milestones.
Okay.
It's the Georgia standards for each of those contents. So it has all of them, all however
Okay.
many they are. And the way that they question the student, Rashida, is very close to the way Milestones questions and interim
hmm
assessment is just written that way.
Okay, so I will be able to go back and look at like the parent letter from the interim assessments and match that up to what standards we should start with
Yes.
on USA Test Prep.
Yes. That's a great,
Okay.
yes, you sure will. And Rashida, if something doesn't make sense, reach out to that content teacher and she or he should be able to help you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. That's a great question. Hey, Zoe. Go ahead, Zoe.
So I did have a question about like the milestones location since I took it like a couple years ago. So
Uh-huh.
we have to like email our address into Infinite Campus or anything, even if
Nope. As long as your address is accurate, Zoe, in Infinite Campus as the primary address, they're able to pull that. So you don't need to do anything other than that.
okay, so if I know like where exactly I'm gonna be testing at, like if it would it still be the same location I did for my
It may or may not be, Zoe, because we have to contract those. So I don't know if you're the site you've been on, but you'll find out by the end of March or hopefully even sooner than that. You'll get an email tell you where you're going.
Okay, I think that does help me a little bit more. And with USA Test Prep, I like this questions, and they're similar to the ones in Milestones.
That's right.
Okay, thanks. That helped a lot.
You're welcome, Zoe. Always a pleasure. All right. Golda, I see your hand is back up. Go ahead. Golda, did you have a question? All right, going once, going twice. All right, Golda, I'm going to go ahead and lower your hand, but raise it again if you need it. Keandra, go ahead. Or Keandra.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I was just in the main chat and I was trying to figure out as far as okay, I know you all said you're keeping, trying to keep everything safe, but what if we don't agree cuz as far as going out testing, sending our kids to the testing site
Yes,
because
ma'am.
basically my kids, really don't even get out. So, I'm kind of
Right.
nervous on that.
So, right. So, what that is if your student does not attend testing, it's counted as an unexcused absent for that day because that's testing is what we're doing for school that day, and that's the consequence.
Okay, so if you said it's counted as
An unexcused absence for however many days there's what grade is your student in?
she's in 6th grade.
So it would be 3 days because it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then any makeup days. So it wouldn't be more than 7 days of unexcused absences that the student would have.
Oh, okay, so I really don't have to take her to it if I feel like it's unsafe.
Well, I'm not you have to make the decision. I'm telling you that we are doing everything we can. And mom, please know that we did this in December with our EOC and we did not have any incidences. So I promise you we're going to do our very best, but I can't tell you, you've got to make the decision, but it's really important for our students to take this. But you have to make that decision and the consequences, unexcused absence for those days.
Okay, so with the unexcused absences, as far as that, would they be retained for not taking it or no?
No, they would not be retained for not taking it. But of course, we look at other data points. And if we don't have that as a data point and all the other data points indicate that the student has not mastered the skills or standards, then retention would be on the table. But we never have withdrawn students because they didn't take the test. We have withdrawn students that did not take the test because they missed 10 days of school because they had 10 unexcused absences, and that's truancy. So that's the reason that they were withdrawn. But in this case, we only will be testing 7 days. So your student, if they don't, when I say 7 days, it's 3, but then all those days that they don't come for the makeup would be counted because, you know, that's what we've asked. And yeah, so they would have 7 unexcused, but it would not be, we would never retain a student just because they didn't take a test. It's all about what the data tells us and if they've mastered the skills or standards.
Okay, so basically, if they their grades are, you know, in good standings, but they don't take the test.
Yeah, it's more than grades though, Mom. I don't want to mislead you. So it's not just about their grade on the report card. It's about what did they score on MAP. If they're in AIM, what did they score on iReady? What did they score on their IAs? Of course, Milestones is a big one. It's all of that we look at when we consider, because here's the thing. Retention is not meant to punish a friend. Retention is meant because you don't know the material you need to know in order to be successful for the next grade level. Why would we set up a student for failure, right? That doesn't make any sense at all. So it's all about, we just want to make sure that what is between your students' 2 ears is enough to make sure that they're going to be able to do the next level. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. And, you know, there you go. So appreciate that question.
Okay. Thank you.
You are so welcome. You have a good evening. All right. And again, for the very one-off questions, guys, again, if it's a terminal illness, then that's something you would speak to our 504 Sharita White, or our hospital homebound Jacqueline Scarborough would be. And I don't want to address those in this setting because this is a group setting and that's personal information. So if you have something very individual like that, actually, if you'll just email me, that'll make it simple. And that way I can just get it to the right person who can assist you with that question. And again, that is rlowndes@georgiacyber.org. Miss Lowe, or if you will put that email address in chat for me so that we can make sure everybody has it, and you can answer or ask me those very specific individual questions that way. Zoe, go ahead.
Yeah, so I know like a lot of parents are kind of afraid to like bring their kids into the testing session because of like COVID and things like that. So do you know like if there would be a way somebody could take milestones at home, or like is
Yeah. As you heard, Zoe, in our first session, we have submitted to the Department of Education a request to do online testing like we do everything. In the past, we've been denied. We have submitted it again. We have not heard from them yet. So we want that too. But right now, we have not been given that permission by the Department of Education. The federal government has said you will do spring testing. We have to follow what the federal government tells us to do, no matter what the state of Georgia tells us to do. And so that's what we're doing. So we're preparing to the best of our ability for in-person testing, and we will keep you updated just as soon as we know anything different. Does that make sense, Zoe?
Yeah, that definitely makes a lot more sense. Also, do you know like how many people are going to be in the testing room and like how they're going to organize the whole setup?
That's actually in that link that Miss Opani sent that tells you the safety precautions that we're making in order to test our students. So if you check that out, Miss Opani, I'll put it in again and it goes in all that detail.
Okay, that helps a lot. Thanks.
You're welcome, Zoe. All right, Kizzy, go ahead. I think you can. Your microphone is red, so you might not be able to use it. Kizzy, you might need to, I think it just cleared up. There you go, Kizzy. Kizzy, you can go ahead and grab the mic. You just click on the microphone, it'll turn green. You talk, yep, there you go.
Hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good. I just wanted to ask a question. So the parents that go to work every day, does that mean I have to take off? I have 2 kids that go to GCA. So will that
Yeah.
mean I have to take off work for 6 days?
What grade is your student in, Kizzy?
Eighth, I have eighth and third grade.
All right, so the eighth grader, we have 5 days of testing for eighth graders. So
Oh my God.
yeah, that when you first enroll, that's one of the things we explain is that in-person state testing is a requirement of our students. So either you have to take off work or find somebody to bring them. And if you're having trouble figuring that out, then your FSL would be the person to talk to, and they might be able to provide some resources. Your third grader is only 3 days, I believe, 3 or 2. You'd have to look at, because I'm not as familiar with elementary as I am with middle.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
All righty. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And as I say to my parents and our teachers, it is 7 days of complete no flexibility for all the other days of relative flexibility. It's how I explain it to our teachers and our families. So I appreciate you understanding that. And it was a good question, Kizzy. Thank you for asking that. Heidi, it's your turn again.
So my husband and I, fortunately, we're really blessed in the sense that we work remotely already from home. So with having the flexibility of taking our students, because I have two, I have an elementary and I also have a middle school. So will there be Wi-Fi for the parents who can work remotely so that we can be at the testing center and still make this work?
Parents will not be able to stay at the testing center. Now, you could stay in your car, I guess, if you wanted to, but not in the building. And I don't know, different sites are different for Wi-Fi.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. All right. Any other questions? I don't see any more hands raised. And I think, Miss Lowe, did you get all the questions in the chat?
Ones that I could catch, I sure did.
Okay, so guys, if Miss Lowe did not get your question answered or I didn't, go ahead and type it again. If you don't want to get on the mic, that's fine. Hi, Kathalia, go right ahead. Miss Lowe, you'll need to turn off your mic again.
So I was wondering, like, if you have like students that have special needs, will the testing be adjusted for them, or it won't?
We do accommodations. Are you talking about a special education student?
Yes.
Yes. Speak to your case manager and they would be best to help you with that answer. I don't want to go into detail in this setting, but reach out to your case manager. And Kathalia, if your case manager is not able to answer your particular question, email me, rlounge@georgiacyber.org, and I'll make sure you get the answer that you're trying to get an answer to.
All right. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Yes, Corinne or Connie, I think that's Connie, sorry. Our students are able to keep their Chromebooks over the summer, and as long as they're re-registering. Of course, if the students aren't re-registering, then obviously the Chromebook is coming back to us. But yes, they will have and be able to access many of the resources. I'm not sure which ones, like Canvas, obviously that won't be available because it's the end of the school year. There's nothing going to be in there. But the other ones, they like Brain Pop, that should be available, that kind of thing. You're so welcome. All right, guys, we are at an hour and we hung in there. I appreciate you guys coming. You guys really have a lot of stick-to-itness to make sure that you got in here and got your questions answered. And again, if any question was not answered, please feel free to email me directly and I will get back to you just as soon as I possibly can. And thank you so much. I'm gonna, let's see, Abigail, I see your, and there's the, I think that's the attendance link. Thank you. So Abigail, I am confused about, Gentry is emailing you. We do not withdraw students because they don't test. The reason students are withdrawn if they don't test in years past is because they missed 10 school days, and that's truancy. This year it's 7 days because we have, 3 to 5 days of testing depending on the grade level. And then we have the days after that would be for makeup. So if you choose for your student not to test, they will have 7 unexcused absences. And that they won't be withdrawn because of that. Then the same, talking about retention, we look at multiple data points when we consider retention. So milestones is one of them. So if your student does not take milestones, we won't have that one to review, but we will look at MAP, we will look at interim assessments, we will look at their grades. If they're in AIM, we'll look at iReady and make a determination if they have enough mastery to be able to be successful in the next grade level. If they don't, then they'll be retained, because why would you set up a student for failure, right? In the next grade, they have to know certain things in order to progress. So I hope that makes sense. And again, that the reason we're counting it is because we have been mandated by the federal government that you will do spring testing, and that's our attendance for the day. That's what we're doing. We're testing. So that's the reason that it counts for an absence. All right. So I hope that, you don't have to agree with it, but that's the rules, and that's part of being part of our school is we have to follow these rules, and this is what it is. And, you make the choice that you need to make. So again, if you have any further questions, please feel free to email me, and that's absolutely fine. And I thank you so much for being here. Let's see. And Alicia, I see your question. Miss Lowe, can you grab Alicia's question about the jigsaw class and do a little bit more investigating on that? Miss Alicia, if you will put in private chat to Miss Lowe your student's name and ID, because Miss Lowe is over our academic review board or attendance review board. So she can look at that a little bit more closely. And you private chat her by just clicking on that little conversation icon beside her name, and then you can type it in there. All right, Kendra, one more question. Go ahead.
Check whoever you was just talking to, because I went through the same thing that Alicia is going through with the 20 live classes, and my daughter, she attends classes every day, so I don't understand how they have 20
Kendra,
live classes missed.
Right. Kendra, I'm going to stop you. And again, I don't mean to cut you off, but I am. But that's really private and individual, and I don't want to use this setting to do that. But same thing. If you will private chat to Miss Lowe your student's name and ID, she can investigate that further. If you're not sure how to private chat, you can just send it to me in an email and just give me some background of what you're referring to, so I can send it to her to investigate, and she'll get back to you so y'all can talk on the phone in a private conversation and not in a group setting. But thank you for bringing that to us. Appreciate that. All right, Miss Opani, are we good to go?
Good to go.